Okay, I got the case um, all cleaned up. Um, Looks good. One thing that I noticed about the later model um, Electrolarms is they have less of a contrast in the bakelite. So, like this right here, you don't see a whole lot of different shades of brown and black. The earlier ones had more of that. So that's the case, and to show you what I used to clean it up. The first thing I did was, and this I got off some guy on eBay who had a video about cleaning up Bakelite, old Bakelite radio, but 000 steel wool. Take that and just lightly go over the Bakelite case, and then after that, take Brasso, put it on there. It's a lot of brown crap's going to come off there. It's I guess oxidation. So and then and when I put the Brasso on, especially on the back here inside, use one of these disposable brushes. Put the Brasso in, and then rub it all around there. That makes it a little easier. This is the back. But after I clean it with Brasso, I then give it once over with this right here. The Electrolarm original trim, whatever glue that they used, sticks on there even though the trim is gone. And this stuff actually takes it off. So, I mean, it's not that important that it's off, but if it's the original adhesive that Telechron used, using this will take it off, so you get a nice clean case. And then finally, this stuff, which is just magic for Bakelite. After I've done all the cleaning and polishing, spray a little bit of this on there, rub it with a soft cloth, and it really makes it look nice. So so that's the case, and I've also got the beauty ring ready to go. The beauty ring, just so you know, it's not necessary to paint the entire thing. The only part that will be seen when the clock is put together is this inside ring right here. So I've got the face ready to go. So the next step there is, here's my decal, water slide decal. I'm going to take this and put it onto there. And then I also have to work on the lens. And I'll just tell you, I come up with names for the clocks I'm working on sometimes to keep them straight. And I call the late model, I've been calling the late model, I call the male, and the earlier model I call the female. And what I've found is they have different size lenses. So you see there it says male. If you try to take this and put it into the earlier Electrolarms, it doesn't fit. It's just slightly too big, right? But this is what comes with the later Electrolarms that have the integral bezel. So I don't know, why that is. They both measure the same, but this one is slightly bigger. So I got a what I call a male one. It's the slightly bigger one. And what I got to do is I've got to mask this center circle and then take the mirror effect paint and apply it in a ring around the edge there. So here is one that I've done for another late model Electrolarm. So when I'm done with this one, it should look like this. So the way that I do it is I got myself a circle cutting tool off of Amazon that looks like this, and I found using a cutting mat is important. And what I do first is make a template. Now, I've measured the mirror ring about the around the early model and the late model, and it sure seems to me like there's a difference. Okay, so both I use the metric system because my tool just happens to only have millimeters. So if when I measure across the lens, I come up with about 93 millimeters. So this outer circle is 93 millimeters. But on the earlier Electrolarms, it seems like this inner circle is 69 millimeters. The later ones, which is what I'm working on now, the outside is again 93 millimeters, but the inside is 75 millimeters, which makes it less of a mirrored edge around it. So what I do is I clean this lens. I want it to be, nice and clean so the paint will stick to it. And then what I'm going to do is attach this template as best I can to it. And this template is going to help me to, as much as I can, center the mask that's going to go on here. So the next step is to cut the mask. So I have this set at 75 millimeters, and what I'm going to do is I use this frog tape yellow, and I have had good results with it. It helps with the paint bleeding through, preventing the paint from bleeding through. So I put 2 strips of that down, so it's 75 millimeters, and then take the cutting tool and go around like this, and what I wind up with is a mask which is 75 millimeters across. Now the trick here is to take this mask and to place it on the lens so that it, as much as possible, is around this template. And what I commonly will do, because I don't want my mask to fall apart on me, is I'll just take some of this scrap tape and put it on the seam like that. That way it'll stay together. But I'll attempt to put it on here now so you can see what I'm talking about. So I have the mask, I have the template on the lens, and so the next thing I'm going to do is pull the mask off and try and attach it as best I can in the center of the lens. So I'm looking at this right here, and I'm looking at the curve right there, and it's tricky because the lens is actually concave, and the template and the mask are flat. So it does get a bit tricky, and sometimes I have to take it off and try it again. But I'm just trying to get it in there so that it's as centered as possible. Probably not going to be perfect, but people won't be able to detect that it's not perfect either if I can get it close enough. So there you go. That's going to work for me. It isn't perfect, but it's close enough. And so the next step is to make sure that I squeeze out any air bubbles, especially around the edges of the mask, because paint will run down in there, and that just creates an extra step. And then finally take the template off, and what I'm left with is a lens that has an area in the center which is masked off. And now I'm going to take the mirror effect paint and follow the directions and paint this right here. One thing that I do, just it's something to avoid an extra step, I have a bunch of silly putty, And so what I'll do is I'll take the silly putty and I'll put the lens on the silly putty, and then trim around it so that none of the mirror effect paint wraps around onto the front of the lens. And again, I mean, if it does, it's not a big deal. You can get it off with lacquer thinner and a Q-tip, but it can save some time. So this is what I'm talking about. Just take the silly putty, go like this, so it covers the front of the lens. And just to make things easier, I'll go back with the scissors and just cut off the excess silly putty. So those are my next steps, to create the face with the water slide decal and to create the lens with the mirror effect paint. And then I will have all of the parts prepared for reassembly.